Maybe they're just too price conscious. Hello, thanks for joining me. In today's video, we're going to be looking at that old response you get from a customer that you're too expensive, and why, if you're doing your pricing correctly, you shouldn't let it get you down and you should just move on to the next customer. All that is coming up after this. So you've been to see a customer, you've got on really well, built up a good rapport, you do the quote, send it in and follow up a few days later only to find out that you get the response that you're too expensive. But why are you too expensive? Well, you should take your time and work out your costs, and then you'll be confident to know that you're not expensive. Basically, you're too expensive for that customer. So with that in mind, let me take you to the PC and we'll run through a few examples, and I'll show you how I go about it. I'm not saying it's right, I'm no business expert, but over the years I've come up with a little system that seems to work. That means when I've told I'm too expensive, I know I'm not expensive because I'm getting work. All it does mean I'm too expensive for that customer. So anyway, let's have a look on the PC and I'll be able to explain what I'm talking about a little bit better. Now, to get all this worked out, there's sort of no easy fix. It's 2 or 3 things that work in conjunction with each other to give you a good overview of how much you should be charging and the prices you should, your price you should be charging per day. So, to start with, let's look at what you should be charging per day. I did look on Google, and apparently the average wage for someone in the UK is £3,800 a year. Now that works out to about £2.5 a month, just under £600 a week, £118 a day. So after tax, you're left with £94. So that's what the average person in the UK is working for. Now, I think if you're running your own business, you should be charging far more than that. But anyway, we're going to use that as the average price we should be going for. So the way I work out my prices is I've decided that every 3 years I need to replace my van. I try and save 10 grand for that. Also, you're going to need to replace a PC or some sort of office equipment. I've allowed £1,000 to replace a PC every 3 years rather. That's what you've got to be saving a year. That's what you'd be saving a month. That's what you need to save a year. So it comes down to those overheads you need to be putting aside or adding to your day rate rather, £14.05. So that's just like everything you need to be replacing every 3 years. What you might have different items that you want to replace, but this is basically what I want to replace. So then we move on to our yearly costs. Everyone's got an accountant, they should have. Mine's about £500 a year, and again per month, per week, and then per day. Go all through these. You've got public liability, I've got my van. Then you've got your van maintenance, you've got your IT servicing, you've got trade memberships. I belong to Select, Dulux Select, that's added in there. I've got a little separate office, so I've got electric, you've got your mobile phone. I subscribe to Your Trade Base, which is great for doing quotes and invoicing. It saves a flipping load of time. It's well worth £300 a year. I've got a chip and pin machine I use occasionally, just to encourage customers to pay me on time. And then you've got your advertising, parish magazines I use, and a few other bits and pieces. And then occasionally, if I know I'm going to have a quiet spell, I do sort of jump on my builder and bits and pieces like that. All those added up over the year, down to a per day price, is another additional £17.68. So with the 3 year overheads and the yearly, this is the extra you should be adding. I should be adding about £32 a day to my day rate. If you're on the average yearly wage of £3,800, you should be adding £31, so you should be charging £150 a day, which, if you're running your own business, if you're charging less than £150 a day, you're not earning the average UK minimum, and you're not covering any costs that you've got. I mean, unless you've got really low overheads, it's a good wake up call. So, I mean, I think if you're running your own business, you should be aiming for about 40 grand. So there you go. Even then, after tax, you're only taking £120 home a day. 1980s prices, really. It's okay, but yeah, when it's all boiled down, then you have to add on your overheads. I mean, they're not going to change. So really, there you go. You should be charging £185 a day, which you go and tell a customer, I'm on, you know, what's your day rate? I had it the other day. I went to see a customer, staircase to do. She asked me what my day rate was, and I don't like talking about day rate. I'd rather do a price. And she said, well, I'll tell you, she said, if you're more than £150 a day, then you're too expensive. I said, well, I'm way more than £150 a day. She said, well, my partner's a plasterer and he charges £150 a day. I said, well, he's way too cheap. I said, he needs to put up his prices. She said, yeah, I'll keep telling him. She said, I'll keep telling him he should put his prices up, but because he can never afford anything at the end of the month, or he's always, you know, he's always short of money. Well, yeah, he's always short of money because his overheads are way exceeding what he's earning. You just need to sit down and go. This is not, if you've got a spreadsheet or Excel or Google Documents, or Google Sheets rather, not documents, sit down and work this out. It's basic stuff, and then it'll give you when a customer says you're too expensive, you'll say, well, sat down, I've worked out I'm not expensive. You haven't got to justify your price anyway, you just move on. And to be honest, you want to work for customers that value a little bit more than that. So anyway, this is basically the way to work out what day rate you should be charging and have a little bit more confidence. When a customer says you're too expensive, you'll say, well, I can't afford to work for any less. That was just an example to show you based on the average UK wage. Anyway, we've got a few other few bits I can show you. Let me have a look. I use this. This will give you more confidence when you're pricing your jobs. This all goes back down to timing yourself when you're doing bits and pieces. So over here, look, I've timed myself to do walls, ceilings, woodwork, all this over here. This is my material costs and where I've got them. This is the day rate I charge. This is the hours I work. I put 7 because, you know, if you're working the customer's home, they do like to talk and such. That's how much I charge a mile. That's your profit, and you've got to add profit because you can't grow a business without any profit. That gives me all my costs. This will all basically tell me once you fill it in. So you put your room size in. This is all a little bit, we're going off on a bit of a tangent here, but anyway, you put your room sizes in, and it will tell you how much to do a certain area, how long it will take you, what your profit is, how much materials, your sundries. It just builds more confidence so that you know when you're pricing your job where the money's going. And finally, a great way to give yourself a little bit more confidence in your pricing is to fill out a job sheet as you go. You put in the total value of the job, take off your tax, and then it will give you a running total of what you spent, what you've got left, how much you've made it profit, how much you spent on labour, percentage on materials. And so if you keep a track of your job sheets, you can then see over time where you can fine tune, save a little bit of money. I hope you found that interesting and helpful, because next time you're told by a customer that you're too expensive, you'll know with confidence that you've spent the time going through your rates. You've got a job sheet to know that before, when you've done pricing and done work, that you're making money or you're losing money, and where to fine tune your pricing. And basically that maybe that customer is just not a good fit for you. Maybe they're just too price conscious, and they need to find someone a little bit more within their budget, which, you know, that happens. Anyway, if you found this interesting and you'd like a little bit more help running your decorating business, I run a Facebook forum called Owning Your Own Decorating Business. Surprisingly, took a long time to come up with that name, and it's full of decorators and decent people within the industry. John Mears, Pete Wilkinson, all well respected people with some great ideas. Pete's wrote a book or two. Yeah, that's behind me there. That's 2 of his 4 books. John Mears has got a book coming out in the very near future. So like I say, it's full of really good people, really friendly bunch, all there to help each other, and it's well worth joining. Be more than pleased to see you. Also, if you found this video interesting, you might find this other video about how to set up a pricing spreadsheet helpful too.